Tornado season begins in mid-March. That's just a couple of weeks from now.
Spotting twisters isn't magic, but some basic weather science will help you understand what to look for when severe weather threatens.
Chief Meteorologist Steve Lanore explains in part one of The Science of Chasing Tornadoes.
Large tornado on the ground, one of the most terrifying natural disasters you might face. Around 1,200 twisters strike the United States each year. More than half of these show up in the spring. Tornadoes are generated by severe thunderstorms. These begin with an updraft and downdraft of air. But sometimes the updraft becomes supercharged. Several factors can trigger the powerful rush of air, like a cold front combined with low pressure and a strong jet stream. Another factor is wind shear, which are winds blowing at various speeds and directions at different altitudes, and that can further boost the destructive potential. Doug Drace has been spotting and chasing storms since the mid-90s and explains what goes on inside a potentially tornadic storm.
The first visual clue that you're going to see from this storm is the very well-defined rain foot that's coming out from the downdraft, which gives you the idea that there's a very strong updraft underneath the rain-free base there. Here you can see a lot of the mid-level banding that's in this storm. When you get banding like that and it's tight and it's almost spiraled looking, then you know that you're in a pretty strong area of wind shear, and the likelihood of potential tornado is definitely increasing at that point.
A telltale sign of trouble is the appearance of what's known as a wall cloud. These usually form under the rain-free base of the storm towards the back edge. Once a wall cloud starts rotating, that suggests a tornado could form at any time.
If you can get a wall cloud, rotating really close to the surface and you can see a lot of scud rising into it, the likelihood is a lot greater that you're going to get a tornado. Whereas this appears to be just a little bit more elevated than a lot of the wall clouds that I've chased that actually produce tornadoes. It's dangerous. You think about getting near a supercell that's 40, 50,000 feet tall, producing hail up to the size of softballs and winds of 80 miles an hour, not to mention, extremely strong winds underneath a wall cloud with, strong rotation. It's just extremely dangerous.
Nevertheless, some crave the thrill of pursuing these dark beasts. Doug shares video of a recent jackpot storm chase he had last spring. We'll have that in part 2 of our series tomorrow night on First News here at 6. And of course, Charlie and Maureen will also have links on our web channel to some of the popular storm chase sites, Doug Drace's email, and we'll put both the stories on the web in the next couple of days so folks can view them if they miss them tonight or want to see them over.
We're nowhere near the tornadoes. Well, we're near it, but it doesn't feel like we're anywhere near tornado season.
It's getting close, but it's just going to be cold tonight. Winter's hanging on for a little while longer, and tonight you're going to need
Last night, Steve Lanore and storm chaser Doug Drace gave visual clues for spotting trouble in a thunderstorm.
Tonight, in part 2 of our series, The Science of Chasing Tornadoes, we join the quest to capture twisters on tape, starting with one right here in Texoma.
I've got major damage, Mike. It is hitting Highway 199. It's on I-35. Major damage on the west side of Ardmore. I'm at 70. Large tornado on the ground. Major tornado on the ground.
Doug Drace was only a few miles away when this video was captured May 7th, 1995. He saw the same tornado just before it hit Ardmore.
It was a pretty incredible experience. I was a little bit scared my first time out. Didn't have very good information, and so I kept my distance, probably about 2 or 3 miles away from it.
But Doug hit the tornado jackpot on a West Texas chase last year.
This circulation here became very intense and much lower to the ground, which was an indication that the storm was getting a lot stronger and was possibly going to start producing larger and more destructive tornadoes. This is the same wall cloud actually producing a tornado now as it crosses the road. As you can see, circulation is extremely intense. We're within about a quarter mile of that tornado.
One problem is severe storm rubberneckers. It's gotten much worse since the release of the movie Twister.
Storm motion is 225 degrees straight out southwest.
We're in perfect position. Let's proceed.
Once the movie came out, the very next year, it jumped from probably 30 to about 500 people out there chasing, which really creates quite a bit of a hazard for people who are out there actually storm chasing and trying to report for news agencies and emergency workers and stuff like that.
Even though Doug is an experienced and sensible chaser, He says sometimes you have to take a few chances to unravel nature's mysteries.
We're doing what we call a core punch on this, which is a very dangerous thing to do when chasing storms, but sometimes it's the only way that you can get close enough to the wall cloud to see if there's actually a tornado on the ground with it or not. This was the largest tornado of the day. This was rated F5 tornado, over a mile wide, sometimes a mile and a half wide, and it's just a classic Texas Panhandle kind of tornado. These were all fortunately out in the middle of nowhere. You know, had we had a tornado outbreak like this in a populated area, say through the Texoma area or Oklahoma City area, it would have been pretty bad. There were a lot of strong tornadoes that day, a lot of F3, F4 kind of tornadoes, including that one really large F5.
So someone watching this broadcast is probably interested in storm chasing. What advice would you have for them about what to do and maybe what not to do?
First thing to do is just get information. There's everything you need to know about storm chasing is available over the internet. Try and maybe get in contact with storm chasers. Some of them are going to give you the time of day, some of them won't. Best thing to do is to try and even set up a storm chase with somebody who's done it.
Now, we've placed some links on our web channel weather page so that you can contact Doug or research storms and tornado chasing on your own. The two parts of this series will also be on the web for a couple of weeks, and Doug really made this story a pleasure to do. And again, storm chasing is dangerous, but if you know what you're doing, it can be done safely and also very exciting process.
Absolutely. All right, thanks, Steve.
Maybe learn a thing or two about the weather and help out.
Absolutely. Help out with emergency management and helping to be an eyewitness to when tornadoes really are on the ground.
Nothing like that tonight, though, or anytime soon.
In fact, good news if you're getting sick of winter, you got a warming trend, and I'll come back and talk about it next.